Hi, student number is 20129-436. I'll be going over the behaviours for stand, staying down and the different techniques you can use. I want to start with the Welfare Act. This is to make sure any animal is happy and healthy and is looked after properly. It was developed in 1965 and the 5 freedoms were developed in 1965 and they were called the Brambles. It's the freedom from hunger and thirst, freedom from discomfort, freedom from pain, freedom from fear and distress, and freedom to express normal behaviour. In other words, dog has to have access to water 24 hours a day. It has to have food at ready times throughout the day. If it's in pain, has to go and see a vet and be checked out. Discomfort, has to have a shelter. Has to have a bed. Has to be protected from the elements. And the last one is you have to protect the mental well-being of the dog and make sure they're happy. I'm going to start with talking about lure and reward. So this was done by Lure and Ward and Lure and Click by Ian Dunbar. He brought this to the canine community and let everybody know how good it was. It's a very fast and easy technique for a dog to learn something. So a lure can be a primary reinforcer, which is food, so a treat. A secondary reinforcer would be the click or a target stick. So for lure and reward, for Chewbacca, if I want him to stand, which he already is, I get him to stand and he gets the reward. For a stay, sit. I would get him to stay in that position for a couple of seconds. Good boy. For a down, which Chewbacca won't do, I have my trusty helper. When he would get into you would lure him with a treat down in between his front paws, so he would basically bow down and then lie flat, and then you give the reward. It's basically the same principle with the click, but you are just using a clicker. So I'll use him again at the moment. Oh, sorry, Chew. So present a lure, and when he goes down, you click, give him the lure, give him the treat, should I say. You do this obviously several times. You then add a cue, which can be visual or it can be vocal. So obviously stay, down, or it can be a hand signal. So I can't remember if that was a down or a stay. So I think that was a down. So the dog stays in position, say a sit, and you lure him, and when he has done the sit, you click and then receives the treat. It's important to be fast on the clicker so the dog knows what it's being rewarded for. And the stand, when the dog is, if he's from a sit and he stands, click, reward. Obviously you wouldn't pull him up by the tail. So, going to go through targeting next. You can use target stick, which Chewbacca doesn't like, so I'm going to put it straight away. It has a target at the end of it that the dog touches, click, reward. I'm going to use touch, so basically for a stand, get Chewbacca to come in the stand position, touches his nose to my hand, he gets a treat. Exactly the same for a stay. You have him stayed in the same position for a longer period of time, say 3 seconds, he gets a treat. You work on this, and then you can do the down. You put your hand at the bottom on the floor, obviously not like that. On the floor, when he goes down and lies on the floor, click, and he gets a treat. A target stick is also good for getting a dog to target a certain area. So say bed, put the target on like a big blanket, the dog goes to it, click, and then you can move it down from the blanket to like his bed, small bedding, pillow on the floor, and that's how you get targeting. Modelling. You have the ABCs of modelling: antecedent, behaviour and consequence. So, don't know if I'm saying it right, but the antecedent could be someone knocking at the door. Behaviour is the dog barks, and the consequence is you're yelling at the dog to stop. So with the help of someone, you could ask them to come to the door while you are using a cue, a reinforcer, say bag of treats, playing with a toy. So when the person knocks on the door, the dog isn't going to bark, therefore the consequence isn't you're yelling at him, but he's got a toy, he's had a reward. So for modelling, this is a technique that now isn't that great for ethical or moral, depending on how you do it. I'm not going to do it on Chewy because I actually wanted to do something. So modelling from a down position, you can put your hand on the neck, and then you basically slide your hand, I'll do it this side, across up to here, and then you guide them up. That's for a stand. For a down, you can use the same way, but you have both hands, and you'd basically get him to probably sit and then go down. As you can see, probably pain and discomfort to the dog, so not morally, welfare, not very good. For the stay, depending on what position your dog's in, I'm going to leave him in a flat down. You could probably leave your hand on him, or get him in between in a corner, so he has to stay, and do it for longer periods of time. Right. Capturing. So if I get Chewy to sit, I want to capture a normal behaviour, so something that he does every day. So I'd like him to stand for me if he's going to do it. Come on, Chew. Come on, Chew. As soon as he stands, reward. As soon as his bum or lifts up off the ground, you click, you reward. You do this over and over again, and gradually he will just stand. You can add the cue in whenever you feel like you want to, but I would make sure that you have done the click and reward from it at least half a dozen times. For the capturing, that's the stand. For a stay, he could be sitting in front of the window looking at something. Click, reward. Click, reward. And then you add in the cue. For the down, is the same. Say if he goes to sit back on his hind legs in a sit. You click when he's in the when he's a down position, you're clicking to say, yeah, that's good, you're down. Carry on doing it. Then you can add in the cue as well. Shaping. This is, you watch for a certain behaviour, so for a stand, and then you mark it by clicking, or another way you want to do it. So he's standing, you click, you find the treat, and you give it to him for being a good boy. You do this for shaping. You do this for staying as well, and in the down position, when he's when you see he's in the down position, then you click and reward. It's a bit like capturing, but shaping is more of a little bit. The dog lifts his bottom up a little bit for a stand. You click. It goes to lie down and goes to put his back legs down. You click for a down. For stimulating, for stimulating, you can use the environment around you. So if I wanted Chewy to do a down, which Chewy doesn't do, I could use my leg, get him to be lured, probably lower it quite a bit for him until he was flat on the ground, which he won't do. So I will now move over to good boy. When he's flat on the ground, the dog has to go under your leg. So then you reinforce the action by clicking. You can also use it by going under a small table, obviously depending on how big your dog is. For a stand, you can use it where in an alleyway, somewhere that's narrow that he has to stand, and you can also use a stair gate for a stand and a stay. So you put the object in front of him. So if that was a stair gate and Chewy was there and he couldn't move any further for a period of time, that would be a stay. Also, if he was in the stand position, that would be a stand as well. 300 peck. This was originally used on pigeons and has been developed and can be used for dogs for certain behaviours. It's really good. Loose lead walking is particularly amazing. That's the first down he's done all day. So, as he's in a down, I'm going to use down. He goes down, click, give him a treat. You then count. 1, 2, click, treat. You do this 300. If he's still down in that position at 300, it's stated that the dog knows the behaviour. Same for a stand. If I can get Chewy up, up, up. Stand. Good boy. And keep him in the stand position, and obviously do the 300. For the stay as well, from any position. Chewy, sit. Sit, Chewy. 1 and a treat. And then it's 1, 2 and a treat. as I've said, this is really good for loose lead walking. At any time in 300 that he doesn't do it, say he was standing and then he decided that he'd sit instead, you start all the way from the beginning. And the last thing I want to say is you need a happy dog. You have to have a great relationship, a great bond. You can do this by grooming. Chewy doesn't like that brush. Playing tug of war, going out to parks. Chewy likes this rag pull. Having naps together, going to new exciting places. It's all good, and it will benefit in your training with your dog. Thanks.